Today we are going to talk about a Stephen King book in which an evil villain returns. Randall Flagg rears his ugly frickin' head again in this book. If you've read The Stand and the Dark Tower series, you know Randall Flagg sucks. So, in the book we're going to talk about today, The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King. I did read this because of the tie-in to The Dark Tower, so I kind of knew it had some similar characters in it. It's just one I hadn't read before. This one is, I think, just under 400 pages, so not a crazy, like, giant King book. It's one that not a ton of people have read, but it seems one that a lot of people have really liked, and it follows a story of an ailing king, the good King Roland, and he has two sons, Peter and Thomas. Peter is the eldest, and Thomas is the younger, and Peter is well loved, and he is set to become king. His brother is, kind of sad and confused and has bad luck, and he just wants to be loved and to have friends, and he just really doesn't, and he's jealous of his brother, but he loves and hates his brother at the same time. And so you have Randall Flagg, who is the king's magician. He's always whispering bad things into the king's ear and such, but he wasn't able to wreak as much havoc under King Roland, especially because King Roland had married this woman, Sasha, who was good and kind. It was a good influence on him. She, unfortunately, had died in childbirth when they had their second son, Thomas. And so Flagg's goal here is to have Thomas become king because he can puppet master him, because Thomas is so easily impressionable and Thomas doesn't fit in and he isn't praised by everyone, and people just kind of don't really think much one way or another about him at this point in time. As the time goes on and something does end up happening where Thomas does become king instead. If this didn't happen, this would be a very boring book. So Thomas does become king, and basically Flagg has all the power here, and he starts just doing horrible stuff. Like, they're taxing not 8%, not 18%, 80%, and they're just bringing all these horrible taxes. They have the executioner's block. People are being executed right and left for no reason whatsoever, for the tiniest infraction. And Thomas is just out here drinking every single day, listening to what Flagg says, and making up all these excuses and whatnot. And so his brother basically was framed for a crime that he did not commit and is locked up in this tower, in this like needle tower, and he's to spend the rest of his life there. Now, Thomas had actually seen what happened when this crime was committed, and actually knew what happened and probably could have saved his brother from being in prison, but he didn't say anything. He didn't really do much of anything. He's kind of like a blob. But he's not quite an evil character. I think he just wanted friendship and love, and when he becomes king, he likes that power and what he experiences when people have to bow to him. But yeah, he just drinks all the time and he gets addicted to Flagg's sleeping potions, and he's kind of just, I don't know, a puppet. He's a puppet for Flagg to just sow discord and hatred and evil throughout the kingdom. Like, Flagg is not quite human, we would say, almost probably some sort of demonic entity, because he does keep popping up in the Stephen King universe, and he is a very interesting character. I don't know that he can actually die. I don't think he ever has. I don't know if he's in any of the other books or if he ever will be in the future. He's a very good evil villain, and I feel like in each instance that I've come across him, he's a little bit different in each. In this book, he did have fear of the people, which is weird because, he's a magician and technically it doesn't seem like he can die, but who knows? His evilness and his machinations, it's like he pops up when stuff starts to be going somewhat well and somewhat good. He's like, oh, cool, something for me to toy with and destroy. He's almost like that archetype of the trickster, but much more evil, I feel. And it's like, what does he get out of this? Does he just feed off the energy of the evil that he is sowing, and just the power of controlling someone else and destroying that which was created, a destroyer of things of creation? we could get into a whole lot on Flagg and the psyche behind this character that King has. So, Peter's in this tower, and it's a question of will he ever escape? At some point, are the people going to rise up and try to overthrow the kingdom? And the Flagg's whole thing is to like destroy the monarchy and like get rid of the kingdom and just have anarchy and chaos. And that's kind of what he's working toward. He actually wants the overthrow of the kingdom to happen so he can destroy both Thomas and Peter. And so, like, he's just using Thomas for now, but he did a few things that he probably shouldn't have done. Usually he follows his intuition. And one of the things he had shown Thomas, because he would always show up when Thomas was like at his lowest and like be like, oh, I want to show you this place, and then like take him up to a tower where bats just like dive bomb and attack him. And so it's like, here's the secret place, but I'm also going to F with you a little bit. And then, so one time though, he shows him the secret passage in this secret room that goes behind where his father has in his like little throne room with all his hunting trophies. On the walls, there is one that was mounted, which was a dragon's head that his father had killed because he was a great hunter of the day. There's this secret passage to the secret room, and these eye holes on the other side of the wall behind the dragon you can open up and then see into the room. So Thomas got in like the habit of spying on his father here and there before his father had passed on. So that kind of leads to eventually Flagg getting his just desserts, but I'm not going to say what exactly happens. In a story like this, you know that typically Flagg's going to get it in the end. I had someone say the other day, like, they would like to see an origin story of Randall Flagg, and I would too. I think that'd be kind of fascinating, like where he came from, where his existence was before he came to walk the earth and travel and be the walking man and all that stuff. It's a fantasy book. It's a tale of kingdoms and magic and evil and all of that, like kind of typical fantasy and whatnot. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. There was action, adventure, anxiety, a good evil villain. The brother dynamic, like Thomas wasn't evil. He wasn't horrible. He was just misled and he didn't have a backbone, basically. He was someone that people could easily manipulate and walk all over. I think this is like 35 years old, maybe even older than that. There's a lot of King books I still need to read. I think next up I'm going to get into the Tommy Knockers. So that will be my next King read going forward. So if that sounds interesting to you and you haven't read this King book yet, check it out. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.